Hello, and welcome to Wyverns Weirdos Fathomless, D&D Podcast set in the World of Fierlor. I'm your Dungeon Master, Darby, and joining me as always are Mitch, playing Neris, Jake, playing the Fishman, Joe, playing Alton, Laura, playing Janice, Zoe, playing Loren, and Eddie, playing Galut. Let's jump into it.
Warning. This week's episode of Wyverns and Weirdos has moments that focus heavily on body horror and horror themes. You have been warned.
So, where we last left off, the party were brought along to Valen's room away from home in Catherine, where Valen invited them in ostensibly for dinner, offering to show them workshop before dinner as an alternative to lazily chatting in the city. While in there, they saw a number of undead automata of sorts, including the monstrous Galut, who stood above the rest, and Valen expressed a deeper appreciation as a creation. Valen then lured Alton into the vaults at the back with the promise of new pistol upgrades before stabbing him in the gut with a poisoned scimitar away from the prying eyes of everyone else. In the ensuing battle, Valen eventually decided to self-sabotage, seemingly, with a fireball in the enclosed vault, which Alton had been brought back to by a fishman who had misty-stepped into the vault and administered a potion, and Neris, who had also misty-stepped in. The three party members saved on their dexterity saves against the fireball. However, Valen was not so lucky, as it was revealed from the melting form that he was in fact a simulacrum of himself. Meanwhile, outside the vault, Janice is fighting off a number of the creatures, including Galut, while Loren is barely holding on to consciousness. And that is where we pick back up, right with Loren, who is on 4 hit points.
4 whole hit points. For everyone, just to remember, just to throw your minds back to a couple rounds ago in combat, I started this on 57, and that happened in 1 turn. So off screen, dear listeners, I rolled to see if we would get sicko mode, because this combat doesn't have enough going on. And wouldn't you know it, we're getting sicko mode, baby. So Loren has gotten stabbed and filled with poison, and she kind of falls to one knee as she takes these hits, just bleeding everywhere, sluggish red. And anyone, Janice, I believe, was turning at one point to look over at Loren, hearing her fall. And he would see as she kind of heaves in air, gasping to cling to consciousness, as the blood starts to turn black, more like ichor than like blood. And as she looks up, she looks directly at him. One of the last things he said to her was, "Hang in there, sister." She has one eye that has remained black since the last time she went to sicko mode. And he watches as the other eye fills with black slowly as well. And the last thing she says as that happens is, "Brother." And then she blinks, and all the whites of her eyes are black. Her iris is glowing. She cocks her head bird-like at him.
Oh, shit. Loren, remember the breathing exercises, remember? And then he probably gets hit by Galut, gouged by Galut at that point.
So, for listeners, we have kind of buffed sicko mode a little bit. So I will happily take the 40 temp HP. Thank you. I am also going to go and up my armor class. to a lovely 15.
So it is.
There we go.
Yeah. To summarize, it is 42, I believe, temporary hit points. So,
42. Thank you.
So yes, I think you've got to add the on.
Yes, I did.
Yes,
Thank you.
Constitution mod to AC and multi-attack when using unarmed strikes, and unarmed strikes are buffed to 1d8 while in this form.
Yes.
The downside, of course, being the song.
Everything else.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think in this moment, so Loren has cocked her head to the side, bird-like, and she looks around at all these creatures so much bigger than her. And as her voice echoes on the wind, floating around the room, much like Janice's lightning is floating around from his rage, she inhales really deeply and exhales this storm cloud, this gray cloud that shoots down to the ground and spans out into these 8 streams of cloud as 8 wolves appear. Seafoam wolves. This is conjure animals. So these wolves appear green and fish-like with the weird double blinky eyes. I already rolled initiative for them. They have my same initiative, so they'll just go after me because I'm a PC. And she kind of stands shakily, using her staff as a weight, as these creatures start growling and hissing at these monsters. Janice, you will note for a second you, in this panic, maybe think that one of them is for you. In one of these wolves, there is a spark of a familiar lightning that crackles through its eyes, and it turns its head to Galut instead, not you. And Loren is going to, with 100 little voices, go, "Eat, my children. We have much to feast on, don't we?" And then as a bonus action, she's going to kind of, oh no, I've done a spell. As a bonus action, I'm going to use a sorcery point two sorcery points to make lightning lure a bonus, because that is a cantrip. And just the last one who stabbed me, which I believe is number 4, I'm gonna try to hit him with some lightning. So he needs to make a strength save. 19.
Okay. These things are okay at strength saves. But barely missed. That is an 18.
No, that misses. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, of note, Siren Song has not happened yet.
Okay.
So, you're safe for now, kiddos. So that bad boy is going to take 7 points of lightning damage.
Right.
And he's already very close to me. He's going to be pulled closer to me. Okay, yeah, he takes the lightning damage after that. Yep, cool. Yep, so he got pulled just a few inches closer to me, and she then tilts her head directly at this one creature and just smiles, all teeth. That's her goal!
Yeah, and then was it 8 seafoam wolves?
The 8 wolves are now all going to attack. Fuck, I wish I'd pre-rolled this. Okay, so they all just bite, basically, which is so. I'm just gonna 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. This is why you hoard dice, kids.
You might want to separate out the one attacking Galut just because the AC will be different.
Okay, yeah, cool. So the one attacking Galut would have gotten a 7 to hit, which I assume is not going to hit our big boy. That's fine. What is the AC of these creatures? Because there's
They-
no nat 20s
15.
in here.
The AC for the rest of them.
15. Okay. All right. I'm just gonna make some decisions here. Relentless Slasher number 1. One of the wolves misses. One of the wolves hits.
All right.
Relentless Slasher 4. One of the wolves misses. One of the wolves will also miss.
Yep.
The 2 attacking Slasher number 2. Both are going to hit.
Yeah.
And then the 1 attacking Slasher number 3 is also going to hit.
So 1 and 3
And-
take 1 hit, 2 takes 2, 4 takes none.
And then I'm just going to roll the same damage for
Yep.
all of them because I'm just not in the mood.
Yeah, no, that
and
is
that
fair.
is the 6 points of damage.
All right.
No, 8 points of damage each.
All right. So, that is enough to take out Relentless Slasher 3.
Beautiful.
And
And
2, because 2 took 2 sets of damage.
beautiful. And then all the other ones now have to succeed on a strength save or be knocked prone by my wolves.
So 1 is, what is the DC?
11. It's
So
not
this is
high.
17 for 1 and for 4.
They all have a +3.
Yes. Okay. Which actually gets number 4 over the line. Number 4 would have rolled 10 otherwise.
Sick. That's all good. That is the end of the wolf's turns. They have done what Mama said.
All right.
Here we go.
Next is the Fishman.
Just out of curiosity, is there a siren song?
Not as yet.
Just yet. Ooh. Is I've already forgotten how to say his name. Valen still there?
Yes.
Was he melting, disappearing,
No.
or was him melting, saying "I'm hurting"?
He's hurting. He's not gone yet.
Right. Okay. So, it's not possible to like swap places with a player, is it?
Not swap places.
Alright. Well,
You can basically
Fishman
move
doesn't-
around them
yeah.
without difficulty.
yeah, Fishman doesn't get affected by non-magical difficult terrain, so if you could just squeeze past
Okay,
there, not that
yeah.
it matters. Again, I forgot to mention something.
Mhm.
As we come to see Fishman, post the explosion and the thunder clearing out the smoke from the room, Fishman is kind of squatting with an arm over his shoulder pauldron, and that shoulder pauldron has a concentration of ice over it. It's a very familiar trait of his armor that it is ice-induced magically.
Yeah.
But if you remember from earlier, that particular pauldron is where he was snapping off bits of ration and putting them in, because that is specifically where Rat is. He didn't really have the time nor the he was kind of panicking. As much as he would have loved to have put Rat somewhere safe, he made the decision to instead go straight in, and I'm so glad he did, and so is he. And yeah, he'll again, he does have an arm on Alton, so he might pull up and kind of squeeze his way past Alton, going up to Valen and say, "You fight dirty. Let's see what happens when it is a fair fight." And if he can, because we'll see what happens here. I believe he's already used his reaction.
Yeah.
Can he please cast Silence? But he's going to cast it in the kind of the corner of the room, so that it doesn't actually touch either Alton or Neris.
Yeah.
And yes,
What
so
is the range, the area of effect?
I believe it's 20. Let me just bring it up.
It's a 20-foot sphere.
20-foot sphere.
Sphere is a bit hard to kind of. I mean, you can, yeah, because you can
Yeah,
center
I'm
it
just
on a
imagining-
point
yeah.
you can see.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the very corner should just
Yeah.
be enough. And that's his action. He can't cast anything with his bonus action because he's already used a spell. So instead, what he's going to do is he's going to just bring out his crossbow and put it right up to his head and press it against his forehead. And he does say something, which is, "What's your next move?" Except Valen doesn't hear that and just sees Fishman kind of attempt to smirk, but is kind of overwhelmed with that kind of veiny, very focused anger right now.
So are you pulling the trigger yet? Or
He doesn't have an action, so this is just him flavor-wise. Just saying, if you move, it's my move, basically.
Next
Excuse me.
is Neris.
So Neris is again going to raise a hand to Valen, but instead, seeing that Fishman seems to have it under control, we're going to look back at that vault door. There was like a code or something or other to get in, but I'm assuming it's just a simple latch to get out.
That you would have to determine that with an investigation. You have not seen with great detail.
Okay.
Vault door.
Well, he's going to want to try and just spend his entire turn just trying to figure out how to open the door and then opening it if possible.
So, what we'll say is it is your action to be an investigation check, and if you are successful, then you can use your. It's probably a bit heavier than most doors, so I would say your bonus action rather than your interaction. But it is, if you roll high enough, it is possible to open the door this turn. So, investigation check, please.
That's good. That's a 26.
26. Yeah, no, there's no code to exit. There's a simple mechanism that allows you to exit. And yeah, you're able to use your bonus action to open up the vault door.
Okay.
And I would say probably at that point also see into the room where there are just so many seafoam wolves, and 3 of the creatures still standing, including Galut, and Loren very clearly in full siren mode.
How difficult would it be for Neris to close the door again? I think Neris is going to look out the door and start to yell out, and then see that everything is happening out there. Just be like, that's so much. And I think that's his entire turn.
Yeah. Okay. So, next is Slasher 1 and Slasher 4, who are both going to attack Loren.
Here's where sicko mode may stop being a problem.
So the first one is they didn't roll too well. The first one is they do. Oh, that's Baylor. They do have a good modifier to hit, and they do quite a bit of damage if they do hit. But so the first one is 16, which I think still hits even with your boost.
That just hits with my boost.
The other one is only a 12. So
okay, that wouldn't hit without the boost.
Yeah.
So.
So
Polarizing here. That's fine. Let's go.
Is
1 hits better than 2.
So that is 8 points of slashing damage, and I rolled quite poorly for the necrotic damage. A subsequent 12 points of necrotic damage for a total of 20 points of damage.
Okay.
Okay. Now your wolves are here via a concentration check, are they not?
Maybe.
So
maybe they are. Maybe my
DC
little friends are concentration.
A DC 10 concentration check.
Please. DC 10?
Yeah. And you're a sorcerer.
I
would need to roll 4. You would
I
literally
also
need a
have
natural 1. Oh wait.
I also have advantage on con checks because I have Warcaster.
Yes. But you do need to roll really low to fail.
That's a 13.
A 13. Yeah. So spell. I think the wolves flicker for a moment before just remaining in place. Finally, for this round of initiative, Galut.
So, Galut, something very strange has just happened. around Galut. And Janice has vied for Galut's attention, but Galut turns almost fully away from Janice in that same disregarding fashion as it has been even when attacking you, and its head tilts with curiosity towards Lorette, and it sees this feralness, this viciousness, and taking the attack of opportunity, Galut is going to stride towards Loren. Its heavy feet making those loud oof, oof sounds as it strides forward. Janice, did you want to... I would assume that you would attack.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
If you've got a reaction.
I do have a reaction, I believe, this round. Yes. Cool. I'm going to do that. So, yes, as you stride towards the Ren, Janice tries to, lash out, but that's only a 12 to hit. That was a natural one, so I guess he just... There's sudden, stabbing pain in the... or, I don't know, yeah, sorry. I'll just describe it.
Yeah, it may even cling into some of the chaining on his back or something even and just slide off. But yeah, sorry, you...
It just doesn't manage to get purchase on you, and you're too large and fast just by the benefit of being so big.
Yeah, so... Yeah, does Janice say anything, or...?
Okay, I will, I'll just re-say that, because my brain's not working.
Yeah, sorry, we both kind of beefed that a little bit.
Then you can jump in there, and then you can add that thing,
apologies.
and then, okay, alright.
Yeah.
So yeah, as Galut moves towards Loren, through Janice's line of melee, Janice, quickly, throws a hand out to try and, hit Galut back, or to get its attention, anything, but he rolls a natural one, and so that somehow doesn't get purchased, or just doesn't deter Galut in any way, I guess, if that makes sense. But he just calls out, no!
Yeah, so Galut pays absolutely no heed, and even if the hit made any purchase, it would just almost reflect off Galut.
Halt!
Hitting a part of it
the fight you want.
Does not. And you would see as Galut strides forward. I don't know whether Loren in her state is paying any attention to Galut, but Galut strides forward, so it's standing between its two brethren, for lack of a better term. Now, Darby, are these creatures counted as undead, technically?
Yeah.
Because I know what I'm counted as.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're counted as.
They are.
Okay. And just for the sake of character, do these creatures understand Galut?
They would, yes.
Yeah, okay, perfect. You know what I mean. So, Galut puts a hand out onto one of these creatures, and using control undead, he's going to command this creature to stand down. So let's go with Relentless Slasher 1.
Okay.
If it wishes to, it is a wisdom saving throw with a DC of 15 for it to follow Galut's commands. But that's just dependent on the hierarchy that Valen has put in place.
I think it would.
Yeah. And the other one, he is... Okay, if I use Channel Divinity as an action, I don't get an attack action, do I?
No.
With the two actions?
No. So that's your full action. Your two attacks would be to use the...
Yeah. No, that's absolutely fine. So as a bonus action, it's actually going to look at Loren, and Loren, you would hear this rattling that starts low in Galut's chest, and it kind of slowly vibrates louder and louder until you hear this, and you don't know what it's trying to say to you, but can you make a wisdom saving throw for me? It is a bonus action spell, Darby. Don't you?
Yeah.
We're good.
I absolutely can. Oh, this is.
I'm looking at your bonus action spell, and I think I know what one you're doing. Oh, this is interesting. The one I need.
Sorcery point. I have to re-roll this. Okay, that's a 12.
So you feel this compulsion inside you. There's no... You don't know how, but you understand that the only creature worth fighting here, the only thing worth anything to attack, is the creature in front of you. And you sense this challenge as Compel Duel is cast. And that is Galut's action.
Is Alton back within the vault?
Yes, okay. Alton kind of like reels from like the fiery blast. Just managed to duck away and not get the brunt of it, but he's looking pretty rough. Singed as well as just like a worrying amount of blood. Probably around his abdomen and like pulled on the ground. But he will get out his pistols and alongside Fishman just kind of point them point blank right at Valen. So I can't believe what you're doing.
Fishman will probably jump in and be like, "You cannot hear."
Shit.
Save your words.
Fair enough. This will have to be enough of the message as it is. And I will take a shot at you. I believe it'll be disadvantaged.
Yeah, disadvantage for a ranged attack.
It feels weird with a pistol, but that is what it is. Okay, that's a 16 to hit.
16, where was it? 16 misses.
Yeah, that's it. Alright, second shot. He kind of like ducks her out of the way, I'm assuming. Oh no, 17!
17 also misses.
Cool! Bonus action shot!
Yeah.
Okay, dirty 20.
Dirty 20. He not got his reaction back yet. So yeah, that will hit.
Awesome. So that's 6 points of piercing damage.
Points of piercing damage. Yeah. That's, no action surge for.
Actually, yeah, sure. I'll do an action surge. That was pathetic. He's kind of like woozy from the blood loss.
Yeah.
No, my pistol breaks.
Oh.
One of my pistols jams.
Yeah.
That's fun.
You do have
But
two pistols though, so you can still.
That's true.
your
I'll
final
keep
attack.
shooting. No. 17.
17 just misses. So as you empty your pistol basically silently into Balin's simulacrum, only one finds purchase. And because it's weird, you're used to shooting at like a whole physical form, but there are just sections that have been melted away. And like I think the bullets make contact, but like the sections are so wet and brittle that it's not really doing any damage, brushing away the flecks of ice that have already been kind of blasted off the form. Yeah, that is your turn. And then we are on Janice.
Alright, so just quickly checking, when Neros opened the door, did he close it again, or is he just standing there?
He didn't close the door, no.
Okay.
So he's opened it, he's looked out, gone to yell something, and then sort of looked back, and he's like, I don't know what room's worse. And that's sort of where he is, sort of standing there with one hand still on the door.
Fair. So Janice quickly shoots a glance over to where he's heard the door creak open, because it would make some noise being with that level of heft
Yeah.
behind it. And it's
Neris
just
would
like-
also be grunting because he's weak.
Yeah, fair. So Janus senses these string bean muscles, and he quickly turns around as he's, this lightning fast reaction from Galut going after Lorraine. He's like, "What's the news in there? Get over here! We need to stop this guy. He's a tough one. What of Alton?"
I was going to say the same for you. Ah,
Janus just like, what the fuck, man? just bares his teeth in frustration, and then races after towards Galut and Lorraine. And is like, "Lorraine, snap out of it. We need to get out of here. Stop this." But he will take a swing at Galut with his glaive.
Yeah, roll to hit.
Just a moment.
Don't forget, if you need it, you can, or if you want to fish for crits, you can have that.
I'll
at
reckless
advantage.
attack.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting to do that. But that's alright. The first hit is a 27. Cool. So that is... Oh, hang on. I'll try that again. I'm going to edit this because D&D bonus is frozen on me.
Oh.
Okay. I will edit back in. So that's 8 points of damage with the Wave Rider Glaive. So that's slashing damage. And then that is 3 points of thunder damage.
So you notice that the thundering kind of makes way for some of the seems to shudder some of the mechanical components to Galut. And Galut, can you roll me a wisdom saving throw, please?
That would be, I believe that's a dirty 20. Yeah, that's a dirty 20.
Okay.
do I have range for silvery barbs?
What is the silvery barb's range?
Just trying to find it.
If it's less
you know
than
what? It's 60 feet. I don't think I do.
You have enough range. You're 50 feet away.
We will do it. Neris is going to raise up a hand and just sort of send a little jolt of mental energy across. So that is disadvantage on that saving throw.
Okay, cool. I didn't know what it meant.
My apologies. So disadvantage on that saving throw, and I'm giving advantage to the next roll made by Alton.
The lower was the dirty 20. Sorry.
So, Galut, you've been aware of a sort of inhibition on your will, something kind of forcing you in line. Don't know why, but that is not there right now, not entirely.
Nothing visibly or physically changes in Galut. It continues staring at Lorraine with curiosity.
Janice, you have your second attack.
Alright, so that, it's like seconds go by, no reaction, so Janus just whack again with the Wave Rider Glaive. And that is, that's a 30 to hit. Which I assume hits. Yeah.
That hits.
Just a little tap. Damn, okay, yeah, so he doesn't get a reaction from Galut the first time, so he puts as much energy into the second swing as possible. So it's max damage at 17 points of slashing damage. And 6 points of thunder damage. There's max damage for both of that. So there's a sudden fierce burst of energy from Janus, with that newfound, still foreign bump to his strength that just rams it into this. It's mainly sort of a whack, he's not looking to stab into Galut.
Once again, there's no physical or reactory change, but Janice, you might notice, and I don't know whether Lorraine in her state notices. She might, if with her focus on Galut, but she might not. But Galut, you see its visage moving and shifting as it breathes in and out, and you may notice that it's matching its breaths with Lorraine as they breathe, and it's staring her down.
And then I think what happens is still no reaction. Galut is so focused. And then Janice quickly casts a gaze, momentarily back at Neros, then momentarily to the other creatures surrounding Galut that Galut seems to have commanded somehow. And he's like, oh,
Only
fuck
one
it.
of them is commanded by Galut.
Oh, yeah. So
Yeah.
he turns his gaze, he momentarily turns his gaze back to these other creatures that surround them. And he looks back and he's like, oh, fuck it. And he's going to throw his Wave Glaive to the ground, and he's going to start to his fingers start to elongate. His stance begins to heighten. A long spine, fins rip out of the back of his shoulders. The long tail out from the base of his spine, and his face, in a horrible sickening crack, shifts into the shape of a shark as he is going to turn into his hybrid were-shark form as a bonus action. That's the end of his turn.
Okay, next Valen's turn. And Alton, you see the look of frustration in your brother's face, half melted and frosty as it is, as he produces a small, he flicks his wrist and produces a small pistol hidden within the sleeve and aims it at you, and silently, because he's in the silence sphere, takes an arcane shot at you. That is a 29 to hit, and that will do 38 points of force damage. Are you back down, or?
28 points. I was roboting, but yes, I am down. Yeah, I'm definitely down. Alton hits the floor.
I think Valen then takes a sidestep towards the desk.
It's within 5 feet.
Yeah.
Damn it.
And that, let me just double check what type of action this spell is. Where is the spell? It is an action. Can't do it as of. All right. That is his go. And then we move on to Loren.
Boy, oh boy. So, she is gazing up at Galut and has felt this compulsion into her mind that all she wants to do is pay attention to Galut. As these other monsters sort of fade from her vision, and she zeroes in on it. You see Galut, and Janice would hear as his own bones begin to crack. Bonus action, sorcery points to make alter self a bonus action, as Loren's own bones also begin to crack and reshape, and spines begin to grow out of her shoulder blades, her spine, down her arms. Just these huge black spikes that have now begun to sprout feathers. And there are sort of the beginnings of wings wanting to form. And as this change takes over her body, her teeth elongating, her face contorting, the green that comes down from her ears filling her veins, beautiful as a natural disaster, she kind of springs up, the air of just her storm magic pulling up and around her so she can fly up to be eye level with Galut. And in that moment of hovering, she looks it dead in the eye, says, "Fellow monster, you let them chain you? I prefer not to be controlled." And I'm going to multi-attack with my little pointy fingies. So that is 1d8
Yeah.
per fingy.
1d8 plus 2. Assuming
1d8 plus
you
2
hit,
per
of
fingy.
course.
Okay. 1d8 plus 2 per fingy. Thank you. So
Plus 4. You should be. So it would be plus 6. Yeah.
+6 to hit. That is a dirty 20 for the first attack. Beautiful. So this is a again, like through her fingerless gloves, her nails have grown long and pointed, her fingers breaking and extending, her whole hand turning green and black at the tips, feeding up into her veins as she does 3 points of damage, just clawing you across the face.
Kind of damage is it? Just out of personal curiosity.
It would be slashing.
Slashing.
Cool.
And then this second one, if she hits, she is going to bring down into like the juncture where your shoulder meets your neck, and she wants to try and latch onto you. That is going to be that's a 19 on the dice, so then +6.
Hits.
25, and then that is going to be... That's better. 6 points of slashing again. She is still kind of like hovering, these stunted, grotesque, spiked wings, trying to fly as she propels herself up in the air, and she is just gazing into your eyes, or what is left of them after the experimentation.
I will note, at this eye level and having it at its full height and not shrouded like it was when it was hunched over in its stationary position, one of its eyes are completely red and rotted, and the other is a shining, almost too normal yellow. And its eyes, as you attack it and as you speak to it, they brighten. And if you would like to, or are in a state to roll an insight, you can see what it brightens with. But otherwise, you just see a change.
I think purely because she has been compelled to pay attention to only you, she will. And get a natural fucking 20 for a total of 21. There we go.
The closest thing that you could tell is thrumming through this creature is excitement and delight. And I think seeing its features, even though you've not spent time with it at all, you think that this is not commonplace for this creature, that this is not something that this creature has felt for a long time.
Okay. Next in initiative is the Fishman.
So Fishman sees just what happened and...
Sorry, I am so sorry. Sea Puppies would have been next.
Yes. Thanks.
Sea Puppies. Sorry, Fishman. Okay. So
That's okay, gives me more time.
I pre-rolled everything. So all of the ones that were attacking the guys that are now dead, they're going to focus on the guys that are still alive. So Relentless Slasher number 1 gets 1 miss, 2 hits.
Yeah.
Relentless Slasher number 4 is going to take 1 miss, 2 hits. Galut is going to take 1 hit, 1 miss. All of them do 6 points of damage.
Okay, so Relentless one, how many hits did they take?
Each of them took 2 hits.
Okay, so
Galut only took 1. So for each of the Relentless, that is 12 points of damage altogether.
Relentless.
Plus, they have to make that save to not fall over.
Relentless
They probably
4 is down.
Yay!
As in dead. And natural 20 for 1 to stay standing.
That's fine.
Okay, so
Yep.
now it is the Fishman.
That's the puppy's turn.
All right. So Fishman sees what happens and sees that Alton gets downed again. Does Fishman see him go for that crystal again when he was like maybe considering using it?
He hasn't explicitly dropped it, but he's not currently holding it out.
Fishman turns around to Naris and says, and just looks at him with like a concern of haste and looking down at Alton, gesturing, basically, can you get them out? Does Neris...
And Neris is just going to nod. As you get about halfway through your thought action, Neris is going to be like, same brain, nod.
Alright, Fishman's going to nod and then go invisible. Just disappears. This isn't a spell, this is a feature, and the way this happens is the dust settling on this kind of really decrepit cellar kind of just clouds around Fishman, almost cloaking him, and then as the dust kind of settles, he's no longer there. He is invisible, though, for the purposes of mechanics, and this particular one, it's not casting a spell. It's not like invisibility or greater invisibility. He's just invisible until his next turn. So I might be taking liberties here, but correct me if I'm wrong. He can make attacks whilst invisible, and
so this
you won't become uninvisible.
This is Nature's Veil, I believe.
This is Nature's Veil.
Bonus
yes.
action, you can magically become invisible until the start of your next turn. Use this feature. Yeah, you're just invisible for all these attacks.
Do you get advantage?
You do.
Cool. Yeah, he takes those 2 point blank shots. Now I have pre-rolled for these.
Yeah.
So the first 2 rolls I got was a 19 to hit and a 14 to hit.
Okay.
Do either of those hit?
A 19 would, except for Valen is going up a protective shield with his reaction.
Would he know? Would he see me? Because my weapons are also invisible.
Yeah, I think.
And also, this is point blank. He pressed it up against his forehead. Before he moved.
Yeah, I think it's ambiguous with the wording, but I think I'll give that to you. He won't react. Can't really react to something you can't see preemptively.
So that's 11 damage, 11 magical piercing damage. And then the second lot of rolls was a 17 and a 10 to hit.
Those will both.
But yes, unfortunately. I was hoping for better rolls, but I didn't get them. There's nothing else Fishman can do, but he is standing right in front. Invisible, however, still.
Yeah.
And that silence is still up, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
I don't think he can move that, can he? Let me double check that.
I don't believe so.
Yeah.
I'll
check that now, but I'm happy to end the turn. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Neris.
Neris trusts Fishman. We are putting a hand on Alton and casting Dimension Door.
Okay. Where are you going?
We are going out of this room.
Yeah.
The issue is, nowhere is safe. So I think we're just going to go to this corner.
Okay.
And Alton in the corner itself.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right.
Also, just quickly, could Fishman have moved after his turn also?
Yeah.
Yeah. He would have just moved around the corner.
Okay. He does trigger an attack of opportunity from...
He's invisible?
Oh. It still would trigger, I think, but it would be at disadvantage.
Yeah, it's fine.
Also, just for our audio listeners, guys, don't forget to describe which corners of which rooms.
Yeah, so it's literally maybe about 5-10 feet away, around the corner of a bookshelf, not obscuring the door that has just been opened, and also being careful not to, because Neris and Alton would have still been there, so he would have gone around them.
That is a 14, so nowhere near enough to hit, as he swings wildly, but you're out of the way by the time he swings. Okay. Yeah, so I believe that's Neris' turn?
Yes, it does. Yep. And for just so that we're all aware, so Neris has taken Alton into the room with Galut and everything else, and we're sort of like at the corner nearest to the door where we first came in.
So next is the remaining Relentless Slasher, which I believe is the one controlled by Galut.
It's been ordered to stand down.
Yeah,
yes.
So it's going to do nothing. And then Galut, your go.
So Galut, it's still holding and maintaining this connection with Loren. It's staring her down and just still matching breaths. And Loren and Janice, you would watch and see as it reaches one of its long, angular arms out, and it puts, without even looking, it puts a hand on the neck of the relentless slasher next to it, almost like a caress, as you would see a father put the hand on the neck of a child while they're watching a sports game. And you see this hand rest gently upon its neck before there's this awful crunch as the claw that extended to hit Janice extends out into this creature's neck. And Darby, I am going to use 3 charges to cast Vampiric Touch.
Yeah.
Do I have to make a melee attack with that, don't I? Yes. So, with my spell casting modifier, which I don't have in. Oh, perfect. Oh, that's off the table. And that would be a 26 to hit.
Certainly hits.
Perfect. So, what do we got? 6. So that's 10 points of necrotic damage that happen to this creature.
It is down. It shrivels to a husk in your hand.
Yeah, so you see it shrivel up and become almost papery as it falls to the ground. I'm trying to find the spell again so I can equal to half the amount of necrotic damage. What did I say the necrotic damage was?
10. So you regain 5.
10. Yeah, and you see some of the wounds on the back of Galut start to close up. Now, what was that? That was a action. Now, Galut wouldn't get a second attack, would it? Because this was a spell attack. Yeah, awesome. Perfect. And it still stays within that compelled duel with Loren, still keeps that connection, but makes no attempt to move, no attempt to go towards her. And Janice, you would see that there's no regard for you whatsoever, even after you've hacked and slashed at it and caused quite an amount of damage, where to the point you see strange clotted blood oozing out from some of the fresh wounds in its back, even if some of the wounds have started closing up. But it still just disregards you. And that is the end of Galut's turn.
Next, as we get back to the top of the initiative, Alton, please roll me a death saving throw and message me the results.
That's advantage too.
Absolutely, yes.
Yes,
There's a
because
spell.
of the silvery barbs from before.
I will message you.
All right. Next is Janice.
Okay, so Janice... so Janice is now in his hybrid were-shark form. So he's just sort of hunched over, almost growling. And he pretty much just, shoves the little sea creatures away that Loren's summoned as he steps beside, and will just, he doesn't stand in between Galut and Loren, but he goes to do that and then just stands to the side and looks between. He's like, "What are you doing? Loren, come. You. What is your purpose?"
Galut, I think, still stays staring at Loren, but it puts out a hand towards you, this long, spindly hand. It doesn't go to attack you, but it's almost that placating motion that you might use to calm down a rabid dog. But it's doing it towards you, but not looking at you. It says nothing.
Dennis automatically flinches as he in spite of himself, as Galut reaches towards him. But he then, his claws sort of flex and reflex, and he is breathing quite heavily now. And he looks between them again, and is just like, Loren! And he will hold an action to attack Galut if Galut looks to harm Loren in any way, just with his claws. And that's the end of his turn.
Next is Valen. When is it, Fishman, that you come back from your... when you appear again? First action, you can become invisible till the start of your next turn.
And yeah, until the start of my next turn.
Valen's also going to dimension door to the opposite corner of the room to Neris and Alton. And I think that's all. Next is Loren.
Me?
Yeah.
Fuck. Okay. Okay. So Galut is not hitting back. And for a moment you would feel like the claws in your neck just sink in, just pressing in, just trying to get any reaction. And there's this deep, visceral frustration, this swirling storm in a bottle as you do not react. And she says, well, go on then. Try and get rid of me. They all want to get rid of me. Even the cage I live in wants me gone. She wants me ripped out. Don't you? And then that would be about, as she raises her hand to claw at Galut again, that would be about when Janice would have come around and had that that brief interaction with Galut, and she would have seen that placating hand, and she would have seen Janice, just monstrous himself, attempting to comfort her. And I think there's this stillness in the storm, this eye of the tornado, as she looks at Janice. And for a moment, her eyes are still black, but it is just Loren's voice that speaks when she says, Janice, I did it again, didn't I? And her neck cracks. Her neck cracks and cracks and cracks, and she screams. And I would like to use my whole action to try and break this.
Okay. Roll me a wisdom saving throw.
Can I get advantage for using an action?
I'll allow it.
Yay! And because my storm brother is just so cool.
Pretty cool, yeah.
Is it wisdom?
Wisdom.
6. 19.
19. That is enough. You're able to come to your senses vis-a-vis the siren form. You are not quite to your senses vis-a-vis the compelled duel.
That's fine. I will get rid of my temporary hit points. Farewell, goodbye. So as she screams, there are hundreds of voices screaming this harmony, and you all would feel for a moment that pressure against your mind that means there is a siren singing for you. There's a moment where there's that pull to the ocean, and then like a wave crashing, it snaps. And Loren kind of slumps, her only real point of contact, her hands on Galut's shoulder. And as her claws sort of retract, she just falls to the ground, barely catches herself. And the feathers and the spikes just kind of fall away and land as these raven feathers on the ground. And she just looks back up at everything. And I don't think she can speak.
I think as she goes down, so does Galut, and it falls back down to its not prone position, but the position you first saw it, on all fours. And it's still 5 feet tall, on its all fours, hunched over, but it's down lower, and it's still just watching you, its head tilted to the side.
Next is the Fishman. So Fishman, as you reappear, you probably see that counterintuitively, you are the last one to leave the vault.
Yeah. So he knows that Alton is still down. He notices that potentially they might get another go, but also, did he get a good look at like how Valen was looking?
Valen is looking
For a
very
ice
shaky,
clone?
like lots of melting, lots of ice dripping into water.
Right. I'm going to try and maximize what he can do here. So he will see how effective what he just did was, and he's going to do the same thing if he can. So bonus action, he's going to go invisible.
Yeah.
And then he's going to just come out of the vault and move maybe about 15 feet to the side, just so he can get a clear shot, a clear line of sight. And he's going to try and take those 2 attacks. He's going to try and do a good offense so that he doesn't need to do a good defense. So I haven't pre-rolled these ones, so please hold. So the first one is, okay, that's a 25 to hit.
Yep.
So
certainly,
that is...
yeah, that'll certainly hit. I'm not even going to bother with the reaction on that one because it's not going to change the result.
He did roll a 4 for damage, but he's going to re-roll that, and he has to use the new roll for his crossbow master
Yes.
feat. That's much better. So that's 11 damage now.
Okay.
And for the second attack, that is a 15 or... Oh, so close to a natural 20. Or a 15 to hit, which I don't believe
No.
hits.
Yeah. That's gonna miss.
Unfortunate. That's
Like,
alright.
You shoot. Your aim is so dead on that you hit in the exact same spot, but the first hit actually took out that chunk of Valen, and so going.
And then I guess with what he's got left, because he knows a little how dire the situation is can he yell out to anyone that'll listen? Because I'm not sure how much noise is going on around right now. But for the love of God, take that piece of shit out.
All right. Next.
No one knows where it's coming from. Though.
Yeah. Next is Neris's go.
So Neris is going to look at this creature that's on all fours in the middle of the room, seemingly not fighting at the current moment. However, he does raise up a hand and then sees Valen appear in a corner, the opposite corner, and looks like he's either going to continue to fight or potentially try and run away or something. However, Neris also looks down and sees Alton on the ground, and he has almost like a very fast inner monologue with himself as he puts his right hand on Alton's thigh and raises a gloved left hand and points it at Valen. And he's going to cast Wither and Bloom and try and channel some of Valen's life force into Alton.
Now, can you read me Wither and Bloom?
What, sorry?
Can you read me the specifics of Wither and Bloom for a second?
Each creature of your choice within an area is the only thing, I
So
think.
there's nothing to do with constructs?
No.
Okay.
This is at 3rd level.
So this
It's a Constitution saving throw as well.
Constitution save. Yeah. Actually, you know what? It's going to be counterspelled. Would you like to counterspell the counterspell? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need this spell to go off. Yeah, I'm going to counterspell.
Okay.
4th level.
Well, okay. So he tries to counterspell your spell. You counterspell his counterspell right back. So Constitution save. That is a nat 20 on the con save.
Yep, that is okay.
I guess it's still half damage.
Yep, I'm not here to do any damage.
Yeah.
So that is going to be 6 damage.
That's
And Alton gets to roll 2 hit dice to regain health.
okay. That is still enough, but he was on 2 hit points as the last chunks of ice that are barely standing, humanoid, just comes crashing down.
Okay. So I guess Neros is just almost poetically pulling the last strands of life from this construct that is Alton's blood and turning that energy into that negative energy into positive energy and funneling it into Alton and trying to will him back to consciousness.
Also, you said you're casting that at a 3rd level?
It was a 3rd
So it
level,
would be
yes.
3. Oh, what? No, 2. So it starts off at 1.
Yes. So it was 2 hit dice.
So 2d10.
Yeah, Alton awakes on a whopping 5 HP. So probably just kind of like, fuck, that hurts. Ouch, ouch. But opens up his eyes, but has very little energy to do anything.
Does Neris have anything to do with his bonus action?
You know what? There is actually an extra +5 onto that health because it's adding my spellcasting modifier. I apologize.
Fun.
Oh, sweet, thank you.
Yeah. I don't think so. I think he's just going to look down at Alton as Alton breathes again. And just kind of look down at his gloved hand again. And there's almost like a firmness to his eyes, almost like he's realized that he can do something. And that is his turn.
Right. Next is Galut.
So Galut is standing over Loren still. This time on all fours. Still classed as standing. It moves both ways. But it's standing over Loren. And Loren, you would feel this relief of pressure as Compel Jewel dissipates. And Janice, you see Galut look up at you, and it's not with any form of proper recognition, but it's not the disregard it had before. It sees you, and it just gives you a nod. And then it turns back to Loren, and really slowly, it reaches a hand out towards Loren, enough that if either of you wanted to stop it, that could happen. Do either of you try to stop it?
I feel bad, but I do think in this moment, Loren would, as a hand comes towards her, just throw her own up to stop it. Don't.
The creature curls its paw back, and it just tilts its head a little, and then turns and looks at Janice again, and it looks towards the cut that it made in Janice's stomach. And it tilts its head up almost like a question to Janice before gently doing that same motion, slowly enough to stop, but reaching forwards towards the wound. Does Janice try and stop it? It's completely fine if either of you do.
Janice is going to do... What's a bravery roll? Deception for myself. Let's go.
That's an interesting way of... Yeah.
Yeah, alright.
Yeah. I typically roll it as a wisdom save, but I think, like, deception makes sense. Like, deceiving yourself is a fun way of looking at it. Like, you are scared shitless regardless, but just you want to not show that and
That's
not
it.
admit that to yourself.
He stands, like, again, he's quite tall, though smaller than you are. But, yeah, these, like, glowing little beady shark eyes seem to narrow slightly, but he stands resolute and tall, but tense, as if he's ready to, if anything happens, retaliate.
So this bony, fleshy claw very gently touches just at the side of your wound. And I don't quite remember how much damage happened with that wound. So I'm just going to say that it puts about 20 points of lay on hands into Janice. So you would both see as this swirling, sickly almost grey light shifts out from where the creature is touching you, and your wound begins to knit itself up, and it slowly retracts its paw and looks down at Loren again and just tilts its head.
Janice, again, very tense, but when this happens, he feels, even though it's not the same kind of magic, he feels that familiarity of something that agitates the body to heal itself back. He has felt this a million times before. He has this coursing through his own veins, but it is not warm like his is. But so the second he feels this, he, again, almost in spite of himself, does flinch slightly, but is resolute, stands tall, and then, I guess, like, almost relaxes in a moment. It's like, right. And then turns to take stock of the rest of the group.
And I think when it turns back to Loren and, like, seeing that you, Janice, allowed its touch and didn't attack it, it lets out this and just stays watching Loren curiously.
Ooh, I don't like the implications about Galut here. This makes me sad. We'll see.
And that's the end of Galut's turn.
Well, I think it goes without saying that we are out of initiative. Are there any immediate reactions to everything going?
Well, Janice will, in that next moment, sink to his knees next to Loren, and there'll be this cracking and shifting of bone and a bit of tearing of fabric, as he shifts back into his sort of elven, plain-touched form that you all know him quite well as, and he just throws his arms around her.
There is that flinch, and you hear her quietly go, "Don't
Too
like,
bad.
trying." And then she just kind of melts and, like, clings on to your arm, just buries her face in your massive blood-covered bicep.
Breathe
And
in.
you don't, she makes no sound, she does not move in any particular way, but you can feel her crying like she can't help it.
You're on the sea, you're floating, but you don't need to go anywhere. There is no call for anything. You're on the sea. It is morning. You have no call to go anywhere. You are just you. And he just keeps saying that.
And as those words fade out, and Alton, you realize that your brother is gone, but at the same time is still out there somewhere, you think, at least. And you know now the truth, or at least part, a new portion of the truth of so much that has happened to you and to your sister that has been based on a lie. And as a collective, you see this strange creature, warped and twisted by both 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧's and Valen's efforts, that despite its vicious appearance seems to have a gentle touch. And that's where we're going to leave things for this week's episode. Thank you for listening, everyone.
Thanks,
Thank you, guys.
yeah.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us,
guys.
I'm
We lived.
fascinated to see where we're going to go next.
This is banger territory, baby.
See you next time.
Let us know what you thought. See you next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Sorry
Bye.
for listening.
Sorry for listening.
Yo!
It was a banger episode.
Welcome
Audacity,
back,
y'all.
Eddie.
Yeah, welcome back.
I've been so keen to have Galut. Yeah, I'm so
I'm
happy.
very curious to see what this all means. It's very interesting.
I think I had a realization, and like some of our conversation as to like as to Galut's class, kind of veered in this territory. Galut is almost, in some ways, an anti Rue.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities with Rue there, which is interesting.
Same class, but without saying too much, very different subclasses.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense because Rue was an oath of the open sea paladin, so yeah.
Yeah, Galut isn't that.
Galut's just an Exley paladin. It's fine.
So much that I just want to word vomit about this character and its backstory, but I cannot and I will not. You have to find out yourselves, do a little digging.
Interesting.
Oh, I'm so excited. Some people know. Exactly 2 people in this chat know. One
That's
because
fair.
the DM, the other because I was like, well, I'm telling you what this character looks like, so now I'm going to tell you everything about it because I have to tell someone.
I
Or will go
benefited from
insane.
autistic